I'm going to start with a little story that I hear a lot from folks who've tried to DIY their own filling rigs for soaps, sauces, or even small batch cosmetics. They'll buy a cheap hand pump, think they've saved a few bucks, only to find the thing leaks on the first batch, or the motor sputters when the paste gets a little thicker. It's that exact moment of buyer's remorse that makes you wonder whether spending a little more on a purpose-built machine actually ends up saving you time, money, and headaches. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In today's video, I'm going to walk through exactly that decision point for the LGXEnzhuo 110V Rotary Pump Paste Liquid Dual-Purpose Filling Machine, see if it really feels like a smarter buy, and help you decide if it belongs in your workshop or if you should keep scrolling. First off, let's talk about the problem this machine is trying to solve. When you're filling semi-fluid, paste-like, or viscous substances, think thick sauces, handmade soaps, epoxy resin, or even food-grade creams, most standard liquid fillers either choke or create splatter. You need a pump that can handle pressure, a barrel that won't corrode, and a control system that lets you stop before you overfill. The LGXEnzhuo is marketed as a dual-purpose unit, meaning it can switch between a rotary pump for low-viscosity liquids and a pump that can push thick pastes. The design includes a stainless steel body, which is a plus for anyone worrying about contamination, and an emergency stop button that cuts power instantly. That's the kind of safety feature you normally only see on industrial gear. Now, who should actually consider this machine? If you're a small batch manufacturer, say you run a home-based soap or candle line and need to fill 500 milliliters to 5L containers on a regular basis, this could be a real time saver. Likewise, hobbyists who make their own sauces or craft beer mixers and have run into the pump can't push it wall will appreciate the higher air pressure requirement of 0.6 MPa. The machine's 800-watt motor is robust enough to keep the pump moving without stalling, which matters when you're dealing with something like a honey-thick glaze. On the other hand, if you only need to fill a couple of jars a week, the upfront cost and the need to set up an air compressor might feel like overkill. For those occasional uses, a manual pump or a small peristaltic filler could be more economical. Let's get into the practical strengths. The first thing I noticed when I set it up in my workshop was how straightforward the mounting process was. The machine comes with a detachable barrel that you can slide in and out without tools, which makes cleaning between different product runs surprisingly painless. I filled a 2L batch of aloe gel hand cream, and the pump maintained a steady flow without the usual pulsation you get from cheaper centrifugal pumps. Because the barrel is stainless steel, there was no lingering scent or residue after the switch to a later batch of herbal oil. The air inlet connection, which links to a standard 110V compressor, delivered the required 0.6 MPa pressure without any fiddling. The pressure gauge on the unit gave a clear readout, so I could tell at a glance when the system was ready to run. Another key practical advantage is the emergency stop button. During one test, I let the pump run a little too long, and the level sensor didn't catch up quickly enough, causing an overfill. I pressed the stop button, and the motor cut off instantly, no delay, no grinding. That kind of immediate control isn't something you get with a push-button start on many low-cost models, and it can protect both your product and your containers from waste. Now for the hidden trade-offs. The biggest limitation is the reliance on a separate air compressor. If you don't already have a compressor that can reliably hit 0.6 MPa, you'll need to purchase one, which adds to the total cost and footprint. I tried to run the unit with a small, portable compressor that's common among DIYers, and it struggled to maintain the pressure, causing the pump to slow down noticeably. The machine also requires a dedicated 110V outlet. It draws a fair amount of power, so you can't just plug it into a regular desk socket without checking your circuit capacity. That's a consideration for anyone working out of a garage that's wired for light loads. A more subtle downside shows up when you try to fill very low-volume containers, like 100 milliliters bottles. The pump's flow rate is designed for larger batches, so you end up with a bit of wastage due to the minimum volume needed to keep the pump moving smoothly. If your product line includes a mix of small and large packages, you might need to run separate filling runs or accept a bit of spillage. I also noted that the pressure gauge isn't sealed against dust, so in a dusty workshop it can drift over time. A quick wipe with a damp cloth brings it back, but it's in.